What kind of a world do we want to live in? This podcast opens the difficult and uncomfortable conversations about crime, addiction, poverty, and more. If we want a healthier community, these messy conversations need to happen. This is Dangerous Ideas for Social Change. All right, welcome again to Dangerous Ideas for Social Change. I'm sitting here with Darrell from the William White Residents Association. And
Neighborhood Association.
Did I get it wrong? What is it?
It's William White Neighborhood Association. Residents is the old.
That's the old. So we got something new. So what's new about the new thing, Darrell?
Well, the new thing is what do you call it? It's 8 years ago now that the Residents Association, basically they were funded and they had paid positions, stuff like that. They decided they were going to pack it in because the funding stopped. And I said, no, this ain't going to happen. We need to go ahead and fight for this neighborhood. And me and a couple other people decided we're going to fight, and we formed the William White Neighborhood Association.
And that's, as I recall, that was Annette Champion-Taylor that was kind of cheering that on.
Right.
And I know that they did some good work. We had some of our staff team were a part of that original organizing group. We did the community cleanup. Is the community cleanup still happening?
Yes, we do a spring cleanup and we do a fall cleanup in the neighborhood. And the spring cleanup is focused more on paper and garbage on the streets, where the fall one is more back lane, and we're picking up the mattresses, the couches, and all the bulky item pickups.
Well, it's amazing. I know that we've hosted that event, and we've had our dump trailers involved, and it kind of takes a toll when a community is seeing trash laying around. I just think it's kind of like it's discouraging. You know, if you go down a back lane and you see, and so what you're doing with that is amazing. And
yes, and I've worked with Inner City Youth Alive, and you guys provided us half tons and stuff like that, and people. What do you call it? And you guys are very, like, one of the organizations very dear to me because you've been there when we needed the volunteer base to go ahead and clean our neighborhood up.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's one of our common things is we like to get stuff done, Darrell, and I have great respect for your work. We ask everybody on the show the same question to start.
Sure.
So just quickly, how did you get to be where you are today, you know, in terms of have you grown up in the community? Just tell us a little bit of a quick your story.
Well, I've lived in the community, the north end of the city of Winnipeg, for 65 years now.
Crazy.
Haven't moved. All my family has moved out of the area. What do you call it? Because they went to better neighborhoods. Not that the north end isn't a better neighborhood. It's just has its problems right now, and it's had for a very long time. I've been volunteering in the community in different aspects for 35 years now. What do you call it? I've been president of the Lord Selkirk West K Community Center Board. I was there for a number of years, and I was at General Council of Community Centers. I was at the what's the health organization I'm thinking of here?
There's the Mount Carmel over there.
No, what do you call the big one that oversees all the medical?
That's the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority.
That's right, the Regional Health Authority.
We pulled our ignorance and we figured it out.
And I went there as a board member. I joined the board there to solve hallway medicine.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we just made the hospitals accountable for how many Band-Aids they were using and stuff like that. And I said, well, this ain't for me because I want to make change. I wanted to make change to hallway medicine was a big problem at the time. And so I decided, no, it's not a board I want to sit on. So I resigned from that board for that reason.
It's interesting over the years. I'm 39 years in, and over the years, I've served on some committees that at the end of it, I said, this got nothing done, man. We just, we got together, we talked about a few ideas, and we didn't get much done.
Right.
And so sometimes I'm, if you're involved in things, you really have to see a change in the community. And so just thinking about that, Darrell, with, your years of experience and your deep roots in our community. What are the things that have been kind of your biggest concerns lately, the things that keep you up at night?
Well, the biggest concern right now is the housing, because and the homelessness problem in our community. Because a lot of right now in the William White area, which is 9 by 8 block area, uh, we have 200 properties affected by fire.
I had heard at the latest count 140 derelict properties, but it's up to
Yeah.
200 now.
Yes, we just did a report. We do a report every year, a housing stock, and basically we report to the city of Winnipeg, province of Manitoba, that this is what's happening in our community. And we have vacant lots, we have boarded up houses, we have piles of rubble sitting
I see it
in
when
the
I walk
community.
around the neighborhood. So that so from 140 to over 200, I'm
Yeah.
guessing. What's going on, Darrell? Help us understand.
Well, some people say it's homelessness because they go in, they break into these boarded up houses and they go ahead and want
Steal
to
the
keep
copper,
warm.
maybe.
Yeah, but they want to keep warm. But that's in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
In the summertime, we have quite a few problems with fires and stuff like that because I believe there's somebody in the area here that are actually setting these fires deliberately.
Do you remember in the I think it was the 90s we had like a real arson. We had an arson task force, as I remember in the
Yes,
community.
and I was
So
part of that
is it the
actually.
same? Is it the same kind of vibe that you think? Is it a group of maybe kids, or I know you don't want to name
Right.
names or anything, but
I,
what
I
are you
don't think
thinking?
it's kids. I think it's an adult that for some reason gets very excited by setting fires and continues to do that. And I've constantly I was part of the old task force and what do you call it? Worked with them lots back in the
Hmm.
'90s and I've tried to convince City Hall to bring back that task force because they did great work. They saw a lot of good
Hmm.
results, and we need that back to combat what's going on now.
Yeah. Um, so what's as you're calling for that? What kind of results is that? Is that
Well,
getting?
unfortunately, they say the resources aren't there. I mean, I understand the police resources are very stretched right now because, as we know, there's a lot of violence going on in Winnipeg. What do you call it? Murders and knifings and robberies and stuff like that. And it's very unfortunate, but I really think we need to commit some sort of task force to this problem so we can get rid of this problem. Like you're never going to go ahead. You're always going to have the homeless problem, and you're going to have people going into houses and trying to keep warm. I get that, but what do you call it? But we need to actually make arrests and make somebody accountable for this because it's way 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 out of hand as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I always think it's we have kind of a mindset here where we think that as good as we are at creating an orderly kind of a organization and community, people who have bad intentions are always better at creating chaos. Like it's hard to keep
Yes,
up, right?
yes,
Like so sometimes we might get on with the police, about what's happening around crime, but I wrestle with the fact that unless you're planning to be in everybody's pocket, like living, the police are going to be just everywhere.
yes,
There's no way that you can stop what's going to randomly happen at some address in our community.
yes.
So there's that challenge, right?
Yes, like the thing that I'm kind of defend the Winnipeg Police because you're right. We can't have an officer on every corner or a squad car on every corner. They're working with the best resources they have. What do you call it? And they've got a very very tough job. It's like the firefighters in the city here. What do you like in my neighborhood? These guys are constantly like they just get back to the station and boom, they're pulling back out again, and with the drug problems now that we're having in the city of Winnipeg, like like the downers and stuff like that kind of drug. What do you call it? A lot of people are demanding like there's more problems so the paramedics are busier than ever because like people are overdosing, people are like dying on the streets, and they're bringing these people back, and like I can't even imagine what that's like to work every day in that atmosphere where you see people dying because of a drug they've taken, and I've spoken to people on the street that are doing these drugs, and I says, why do you do this? Like, because I want to understand
Yeah.
where they're coming from. And I talked to this one girl that was on the street, and she told me she literally died, was clinically dead 4 times, and they brought her back.
Yeah.
And I said to her, what's wrong with you? If I died once,
Right.
I would cherish my life.
Yeah.
And you died 4 times? Like,
And you're still using?
and she's still using.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense to me. Like,
We might be getting derailed here, but
Sorry.
I've been thinking about this. No, I think you're bringing us to a great place in terms of, themes, but I've been thinking, like, so you're doing an amazing job, Darrell, of helping. Okay.
Yes.
And we've talked about policing also running their butts off, trying to help.
Yeah.
You've talked about fire paramedic.
Yeah.
And the work they're doing. I've been thinking about whether, kind of sometimes do a thought experiment on a community, and you say, like, where will this end? Like, I've often been asked in the media, I've been asked the question, can it get worse? And my answer is, like, you have no idea how much worse it could get.
Oh, definitely.
If you look
definitely.
at, we were in LA a couple of years ago, and we spent a week there at Homeboy Industries, and we walked around their downtown area, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I think about, though, all the people that are helpers, right? The social workers, folks working at Main Street Project, folks working at the different youth centers here. Is there a case, when we hear about, just recently saw some data about violence in schools, that 7 out of 10 educational assistants talk about having experienced, a violent attack.
Yes.
And there being a huge increase in incidents in schools. I worry about what happens if some of the things we've assumed to be there start to tire out. What happens if policing, is taxed too much? Fire paramedic, I heard from somebody going into homeless encampments that same experience of people, getting Narcaned 11, 12 times. And then when Narcan, they come out and they're mad to have been Narcan because they lost their high, right?
Yeah.
And anyhow, so we're not giving up. You're not giving up. But what happens when the helpers become exhausted? You ever think about that, or you have any wisdom on that?
I actually think about that lots because I've been doing this for, like I say, 35 years, and some days I'm just so tired because this is a full-time job. Trying to combat these problems because I'm dealing with the housing thing.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things that go along with that. Like, it's not just about housing. It's about economics, like people's situation economically, right? We need to go ahead and give those people the power. Just because you work at a Walmart at $15 an hour, why can't you walk into a bank and get a mortgage? Because everybody's dream is own a house, right? And be a part of that community. And yet the normal banking system tells them, no, that's not possible because you work at Walmart or you work at the Tim Hortons or whatever. That's not possible. We're not giving you the money and giving you a mortgage. And this is one of the things that we're working on with the housing issue is we want to make it so people can afford these houses, set up a system similar to Habitat for Humanity, where you'll pay your mortgage to the organization and go ahead, and we will be able to give the waitresses and the people that work at Walmart and stuff like that pride.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be held back just because you can only work for a minimum wage job. You know.
Yeah, I love that. I think, I don't know, like maybe this is just sort of a, fever dream or something, but when I do think about kind of all of the systems, because you already pointed to it, you talked about derelict homes, of course,
Yeah.
which is something you're working on, but then you also point back to the fact that crime and homelessness. So you don't even get to the crime and homelessness. You're just working on derelict houses, but you also know
Yes.
that is there's a vulnerability, like we're going to
Yes.
have more derelict homes
Yeah.
if the crime and the violence and the addiction goes up. So
Yeah.
I just think maybe it's important to occasionally put that on the table
Yeah.
and say, okay, this is where we are, and because that saying, desperate times, desperate measures. Sometimes you have to say, okay, this is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like I would say too, when I even think about, like, if we both talked about the 90s and that fire, we
Yeah.
also had a year that we call the year of glass, when there was
Yeah.
lots of vandalism for some reason.
That's right.
Some kids out there. But in those years, some of the underlying issues weren't as hard. So you could deal with some of those issues, some of like
Yes.
the arson, and the arson task force could get things done. We had the interagency gang coalition as well,
Yeah.
when that started up in the 90s. So, but because it felt like we were all pulling in the same direction, that interagency gang coalition, community centers, we all work
Yeah.
together, schools.
Yeah.
Okay, we're watching for colors. Nobody's going to wear a red bandana.
That's
And
right.
we all work together on that.
Yeah.
But it seems like some of the underpinning is kind of shaky.
Yeah.
So now when we work on these bigger issues, it's, you're working on that house, getting it back up.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you could be hit with theft because addiction is looking for copper.
That's right.
Right?
Exactly.
So I don't know whether maybe I just need a holiday, Darrell.
Maybe you and me
Maybe
both.
we both need a
Yeah,
holiday.
maybe we both. But that's the thing. Like when we started working on this housing issue, for instance,
Yeah.
we went ahead and we thought, okay, we're gonna solve the derelict housing. Well, you know what? We found out it isn't that easy because there's so many components
Right.
that go along with that to resolve.
Tell us what's
Well,
what's all
like
going
you
on?
say, the crime, what do you call it? Like we want to go ahead and, we want to make the North End a community again.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're not a community. What do you call it? Because people are living in the North End and living in fear of, like when you walk down the street, you fear that you got to be familiar with your surroundings because you might get robbed, knifed, whatever, for your cell phone, your cash, whatever. If you live next door to one of these properties, well, you're always sitting there. Like the biggest thing I hear from the residents of the North End is, I don't sleep at night because I always wonder if the house next door that's boarded up is going to go up in smoke and my house is going to go with it.
Unbelievable.
And I got Babas that have been here 50, 60 years in the neighborhood. Their families are all saying, get out, sell, just get out and, go into the home or whatever. But you know what? 50, 60 years ago, these ladies and these gentlemen decided, we're going to settle in the North End and raise a family here. And they stayed.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart every time talking to them to find out that their family is telling them, get out. What do you call it? They're thinking about getting out and selling because it's just too unsafe.
Yeah.
One of the things we noticed was we have seniors in our neighborhood that are locked up in their houses or apartments because they're too afraid of what's going on outside. So we go to these senior homes. We have 3 in our community that we go to, and what do you call it? We do a tea for them, where we're encouraging them to come downstairs, meet your neighbors, get out of your apartment. You shouldn't be locked up. You're not an animal or anything. You shouldn't be locked up in your apartment. And it just seems like society has forgotten these people. And they're the ones that built this all. 50, 60 years ago, they immigrated here. They built this.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious too about so those piles of rubble next door to those Babas who are worried about not sleeping good at night.
Right.
What's the delay? What's taking so long? Like, how can we not get this done?
Unfortunately, you're dealing with government. okay? Whether it be city, provincial,
Like
feds,
permits, that kind of thing, or
all kinds of stuff like that. But you're dealing with government, and government's got to do their due process. And I'm not trying to beat up on government. By no means. I'm more than welcome working with any government to go ahead and come to a solution. The unfortunate part is I look at everything. It's very, very common sense. Let's do this. Let's get this done. What do you call it? Instead of years and years of...
Darrell, I have a thought. I have an idea. What if you and I declare ourselves dictators for a while?
Sure.
And okay, we're really going to some dangerous ideas right now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, when I see some of the homes, like there's a home across the way, I talk to the family. So it's abandoned. Sure enough, you see the copper coming out the back, and I call up the auntie and I say, "This is what's happening," and I see that house, and it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we have an initiative, Step Up Construction. We have a
Yes.
group of guys that can fix things.
Yes.
Like if we could just go at it, like that rubble. I mean, you could have that rubble cleaned up in 3 hours. And
It's like I've had meetings with your people here at Step Up. I can't remember their names off the top
maybe
of my head.
Tom and Anthony, but anyhow.
Okay, but I actually helped them because they're trying to build a house or a multi-family house on the corner of Magnus and Powers Avenue.
Yeah.
And I says to them, how come you guys aren't breaking ground? Like, you guys have been talking about this. Like, why aren't you breaking down?
That's it, Darrell. Let us know.
and they're telling me permits.
Yeah.
Permits, right?
Right.
I says, what's the problem with permits? Like 2 years, you still ain't got your permits. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. We need to go ahead, and I've told Mayor Gillingham this, we need to make it easier. That if you want to build something, let's not make it hard for you, because let's encourage you, make it an easy process. And so I went to Mayor Gillingham, and I told him, I says, this is unacceptable. Like the issue that I found out at your property at Magnus and Powers was because they wanted to see a bicycle rack there and they wanted to see shrubbery. That was a holdup in your permits. And I'm saying, are you kidding me? First of all, I don't want shrubbery because that gives a place for people to hide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want a bicycle rack because anybody with common sense, you're not going to put your bike there because your bike is going to be stolen in 30 seconds. I guarantee you.
Yeah. Well, the thing, again, I appreciate your passion on this because I've been saying, when I'm asked on crime in the community, right, I often get asked that question. And I lament the fact that it's politicians and air-conditioned offices taking their sweet time to make these decisions because there's no blood in their hands.
Right.
But in our community, it's real, right? So
exactly.
So getting that rubble cleaned up, getting some of those houses that are boarded up back in the tax roll, it's really important, and like it matters to those bubbas that are laying awake at night.
Yes.
And even like I think about kind of it's a little bit of a crazy theory, but I have an idea that a community speaks. Like a house has a voice. Okay, I'll just work with me on this, Darrell.
Yes, sure.
So when kids are our kids in our community are walking to school, and they see that pile of rubble, and they see those boarded up homes, and a lot of times we've noticed rest in peace things on that white boarded up stuff.
That's right.
That people will sometimes use it as rest in peace murals, which is sad too.
Yeah.
Kids are seeing the name of somebody in their community they know maybe.
Yes.
But so are those empty lots, those boarded up homes, are sending a message to our kids, and it's a discouraging message. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because I did a news interview one time, and I says, and I'm working with the City of Winnipeg, Province of Manitoba, on a project called Harvard Bloomberg. And at our presentation, one of the things I say in the video we presented in Harvard was that, imagine getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to school every day, and you're walking by this stuff. What hope is that going to give our youth when you walk by that pile of rubble and your neighborhood is looking like a war zone?
But the city of Winnipeg, they get their offices open around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
They're not thinking about that.
Right.
How do we wake up our politicians to the fact that we need action? How do we do this?
We, unfortunately, as Canadians, we don't uprise. We need to uprise because this is unacceptable.
Okay, we're getting close to dangerous ideas right now. We're talking.
Yes.
Darrell's calling for a revolution.
Yes, because if that's what it takes to wake them up. I mean, we're working in the community with bylaws from 1972. So outdated.
And then progressive bylaws like, got to have that shrub. Got to have that bicycle.
Exactly.
Bicycle stand. So then, how do you picture this, Darrell?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, again, I say we're Canadians and we just take it and we just lie down and whatever the politicians tell us, we seem to accept as the word. And I'm not saying that they're trying to like delusionize us or anything. What do you call it? I mean, they have to work within a system.
Sure.
Okay, and I get that. But we as Canadians, it's unacceptable that neighborhoods in the North End or in the city of Winnipeg, period, look like they do. That's totally unacceptable. We have money, we have resources and everything else, and yet you drive my neighborhood and I call it a war zone, you know? So that's unacceptable.
You said something. It stands out to me, and I'm gonna have to think about this. You said we are not a community anymore, and how do we become a community again?
There's a lot of people in the community that very much enjoy the community, but unfortunately, we've lost a lot of people wanting to come here because they don't want to live in these kind of circumstances, and that's sad. Yeah. I mean, I remember as a kid going down Selkirk Avenue shopping. We used to go shopping every Saturday.
What was that shoe store there?
Goretzky's,
yeah.
And we used to go to the Woolworths and the Windmill Restaurant and all that kind of good stuff. And you look at our Selkirk Avenue today, it's sad. Our Main Street today, from the underpass on Higgins there to north to at least Inkster. What do you call it? Like, look at the condition of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad. And, you know, like, it really frustrates me that, you know, I understand our downtown is our downtown and we're pumping all these millions and billions of dollars into making it safe and everything else. But what do you call it? But meanwhile, this community is suffering. It's falling apart. And like, as you drive down Main Street or Selkirk Avenue, there's a lot of vacant lots where there used to be vibrant shops. And, you know, that's all gone. And we need to get that back and get that part of the community again.
There's a community development principle that I heard about years ago. And it's always stuck with me. It's that nothing happens in community development until somebody gets angry.
Right.
And I hear in your voice, and I think it's fair to say I feel angry too. What do we do with that anger? What do we not? I'm not saying it needs to be stifled. Probably, you know, if you're calling for a revolution, and we're talking about the fact that it makes me angry that kids have to see what they see when they walk to school, and furthermore. We're going to be talking about student absenteeism in the North End because we know it's very high. There's more news coming out on this.
Yes.
But we do hear from kids that part of the challenge about going to school is the walk to school because of some of the things they're worried about.
Well, it's very hard to get inspired when you're walking down the street and you see what you see. It's you know, like even as an adult, I find it very hard to get inspired. But I believe in the North End. I believe it's a good place to live, and it can be a better place to live. I truly believe that, and I tell politicians all the time that, like, we were once a great neighborhood and we'll be great again.
Yeah. I think let's kind of talk a little bit about how do we get there, because how do we become a community? And I think, some of the things you've identified, we actually have to register some wins on the derelict houses. Like,
Yes.
like one of the things I've noticed is that people don't pick up on the cues. So let's say here we are. I had the number 140 derelict homes.
Yeah.
And that was based on some data. Now you're telling me it's 200.
200. Yeah.
So we got a cue there.
Yeah.
Like something's not working.
Exactly.
It's getting worse.
It is.
So then how do we say, okay, we're picking up on these cues and we realize we've got to do something different. We have to, desperate times, desperate measures. What are the things that we have to do, like action that we have to take to make this, to bring us back to community again?
Well, I think the biggest thing we need to do is the thing is whatever happens here in the North End is happening all over the city. And I've been putting this call out to the city of Winnipeg, province of Manitoba, and everybody else that if we don't fix it here in the North End, the West End, and where there's poverty, if we don't fix it here, it's going to become widespread. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing because now I drive in all kinds of pockets of the city of Winnipeg. There's this derelict housing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's definitely widened out, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is your proof. And if we don't do something, like you're going to have the nice Waverly West and the Sage Creek and all those kind of new communities, but the old communities are going to fall. And if your inside falls, what do you call? All you're going to have is beautiful houses on the outside.
Yeah. Well, we can't have that. I know that in the when the housing market kind of crashed there in I guess the 80s, 90s, and you could buy a house for $13,000 in the community. People were buying them up in batches of 20 houses, often outside investors. So at that point, I know that we felt a level of discouragement, and but we saw things change. So I feel like I hear in your frustration, I also hear some optimism. Yes. I hear that we can get back to it. And so what are some of those steps that you would think we need to do to get back to it?
Well, the first and foremost thing we need is for whether it be city, province, feds, we need to make these politicians accountable. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely no reason that a community in Canada should live like we have to live here. That's unacceptable. Like, we go ahead and we give money all over the world. Let's fix our problems at home. Mm-hmm. There's big problems here, and we all know, let's not be fooled, that it takes money.
Right.
It's not going to take but people need to go ahead and say, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against sending money to the Ukraine or anything like that, but I've often said to people, if we go ahead, stop sending money for 2 years to the Ukraine, keep the money in Canada, let's fix our problems here. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to solve problems in other countries, why aren't we solving the drug problem, the homelessness? Because we all know the homelessness, the drugs, and everything else, it's all over Canada.
Yeah.
All our big cities are faced with this problem. Right. So, so my solution is common sense, and that is, like the billions of dollars we're sending to the Ukraine, stop for 2 years and just say, let's stop this for 2 years, put the billions of dollars into Canada, and let's get Canada like a great place again.
Yeah. Well, Darrell, your whole life has been basically an invitation to action. You've been inviting Winnipeggers, you've been inviting politicians, to act, and I'm not sure if anybody's saying. I hope they are, but I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to you for your work, a heartfelt thank you for your not giving up in the face of some big challenges, and a heartfelt thank you on behalf of all those Babas that are maybe don't have a voice themselves, for your ongoing, sometimes maybe, you push too hard maybe, but we need people like you. And I'm so thankful for your work in the community. And there you have it. We have an invitation to politicians. Darrell, thank you so much. I think we're going to need to have you back because I think we had some pretty good vibes going here, but I want to say a big thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, too, for having me on your podcast. And anytime. Like, just reach out and, like, we want to spread the word. We want to
sure
go
do.
get the word out there. And let me tell you just about my organization.
Sure.
One quick thing I want to say about my organization. We're a strictly volunteer organization. Our total funding for everything we do programming for kids, we do all kinds of things. Our total budget, thanks to the volunteers that I have, they help make this all happen. And what do you call it? We have a total budget of $22,000 a year.
That's crazy.
So you know what? If we can do it with what little things we have, and we're making a lot of noise, and let me tell you, every time I go to a meeting with politicians or whatever, oh, you're William White. We heard things about you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I tell them, I hope it's all good thing. And they say, oh, yeah, you guys are a powerhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, you can squeeze, blood from a stone, Darrell. And
Yeah.
again, we thank you. So with that, we'll say thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Dangerous Ideas for Social Change.